This not cool. This code kind of long, so I'm probably gonna go over my 5 minutes. But I just imported the regular libraries, the utility library, and the input output library. Um, that's underlined because I don't need it. Anywho, I have my main class, which has my main method, and my create from config method. I think I'm gonna start at the bottom. So I created the point because this is the order I did my coding. I created the class point, and then the constructor right here with this x and this y, and then I created the copy point. And as far as like the point went, the copy point was probably my most difficult because I wasn't really sure what the purpose of it was. And then I returned the method. I returned the X and Y, and then did a string method so I could return the string, so I could return the point, like in coordinates, with in the parentheses and the comma separated and whatnot. So then I did a rectangle class, which is a constructor rectangle, private instance variables. I told in the directions. I initialized both points to 0, 0, and I use symbol for flag. I use symbol for the symbol that they're gonna put in, and then the flag like we were instructed to do, and a boolean value to decide whether it's true or false, meaning filled or empty. I have a couple other methods in here to avoid the setup left coordinate, which we call the copy point from the point class, and the setup right coordinate, copy point from the point class. The get area is, I chose to do it this way. Like, I calculated the width and I calculated the length, and then I put the area in as length times width. I mean, I know you don't have to, but it was easier for me to keep up with the math and make sure it was doing it right that way. So that's how I did that. And then toString, I initialized area to get area. And to put it into the string so that it could return the string as an output. I didn't really have to set area to get area. I could have just put get area in here. Right here, C plus area. But I don't know. That's just how I coded it. I don't really have an exact reason. I just like it better like that. It's easier for me to go through step by steps. Then I did the show rectangle that has no parameters. And I changed the upper left, upper right, lower left to x1, y1, x2, y2 because with the loops that I'm making, it was easier to keep up with x1, y1, x2, y2 as points instead of keep writing lower, upper left and trying to remember which one was which. So I did an if else statement. So if flag meaning if it's true, do this, and then else, do that. If it's true, I think. Hold on, let me go back. Sure, I did that. Flag is empty is false. If it's filled, it's true. Right. So if flag, do this, and then else, do that. So this is gonna print out the filled one. And that was probably the easiest loop for me to do because it's repeating itself. So within the filled one, I have a for loop, and then if to check to see the left and right of it, which is the Y values, and then another for loop, the increment I, and to check the top and bottom. So I print out a new line when it gets to the end of the Y. Well, when it gets to Y2, I print out space whenever it is greater than X1. I'm sorry, less than X1. And then I print out a symbol when it's between X1 and X2. And I print out a space if it's greater than X2, which at the end, I mean, greater than X2, X1, X2. Oh, I probably don't need this. I probably could take that out, but I'm going to leave it there because my code works. And then print it out a new line, so they'll go back to and loop through this whole thing again until K is equal to Y2. And then I did the same thing for the else statement, which is when it's not filled. So it's just the parameter of the square or rectangle, depending on your coordinate. And it pretty much does the same thing as above, except for I had to put like I incremented K, and when K is less than Y1, I print out a new line. So that's all my spaces before. And then I check to see if K is equal to Y1 and Y2, because when it is, I'm going to print out a symbol when it's greater than X1 and it's less than X2. So that's the vertical line. And then I go to a new line and I print out a symbol when it's equal to X1 or equal to X2. So those are the X coordinates. So it print out this, or it print out this, it print out here, or it prints out here, and then I have it go to a new line. So after it jumps out of here, it goes to a new line, because it checks for this if-else statement. Once this if-else statement is done, it goes to a new line and goes back through the initial else, the one from flag, and checks it again. I know, I'm almost at 10 minutes. So this is how I called it. I have my main method, and I use the scanner function. I'm really not comfortable with buffered reader. Anywho, scanner, and I pulled in a file, and then I did a try catch. So while the scanner pulls in the file, while it has the next line, it goes to a string, and the string is the next line. And then I take that string and I pass it into create from config, which is my method. If it doesn't find the file, it prints out the error. But my create from config method takes in just the string. So I use string tokenizer, and I put the string in here, and these are the things that I'm gonna look forward to take out. These are my delimiters. And then, so while the token has more tokens, this is how I set up to pull the numbers out. And this is, once I did that, I had the system print out each number and with the flag say, just so that I can make sure it was reading it right. And then I use integer parse. I use the parse function to change the string to an integer. And then I put them into points from the point class. And I took the Boolean flag and did an if-else statement to see if it says reads empty or if it reads filled. So flag false, else flag equals true. I'm gonna add before I submit else to flag in lowercase equals filled, do this, so I can have another else that prints out an error message if it doesn't say empty or filled. And Then I put that into the rectangle class, and I pull the rectangle set coordinate methods, and I pass the points that I already declared up there into them. And then I show rectangle, and system print out rectangle to string so that it can show the coordinates and the area. So look, this is my config file. This is when it says empty. So it says 5, 4, 10, 12. And when I run it, this is what happens. So these 4 lines don't really count as far as the way the thing starts. I had just printed this out. I'll comment that out. It doesn't have to be there, but so that I could see that that the delimiters were taking off the right things and I was tokenizing the right parts. And then I print out the rectangle and the values, and then the area of the rectangle is. So as you can see, this would be my beginning. So 1, 2, I'm sorry, that would be 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 over for X, and then 4 down for Y. And the hardest part about this probably was that I had to change the font on my console, because although the spaces were numbered right, it wasn't exactly printing out a rectangle, because the bytes of the pixels of the star versus the pixels of the spaces weren't exactly equal. Anywho, one more time, let's do this with, I'm gonna put the word filled in here, and then just run it again, because it's just gonna read from that file, and it's gonna do the same thing, this time with if filled. Okay, that's the end of my code. Sorry I went so far over.